Alright everyone, so we were attempting to get the wretch to figure out where he is in the wizard's field of view, and we created this useful function which tells us the direction from the wizard to the wretch. So if the wretch is up here, then the direction will be something like 45 degrees, 0, 90 degrees, etc. So the first thing we need to do is we need to call that, and we need to call it from the where am I function, so that this function is able to get this data right at the beginning and then it can use it later in the function. I also need to make a new variable. I'm going to call it view angle. And this is the angle between the wizard and the wretch, but seen from the wizard's point of view. And if that isn't clear, I will explain it a little bit more in a moment. But we're going to take that and we're going to put in a set here. And so set view angle to the difference between the two angles that we have. So it's the difference between this angle we just figured out, which is the direction from the wizard to the wretch, and the wizard's direction, which we just called direction back at the beginning of the game a long time ago. Now, we're going to do a little bit of playtesting in a moment, and hopefully we'll see the difference between these two numbers. But first, we've got to make sure that this gets called. So this hasn't been called yet. So in order to integrate it into the game, we need to put where am I in here. This is in the wretch's main cycle. So as he's moving, he's going to keep running this block on repeat. And so every time he passes through a repeat, he's going to recheck where he is with respect to the wizard. And then lastly, this is just for development purposes, but I'm going to set drag mode to draggable and when I receive start wretch. And this just allows me, when I'm playing the game on full screen, it allows me to use my mouse to drag this particular sprite around. So here is our wretch, and I can move him around. And to begin with, I just want to look at this number here, right at the top, the direction from the wizard to the wretch. Now, if the wretch is above the wizard, this is going to be around 0. If it's here, it's going to be around 90. If it's here, it's going to be about 180. And if he's here, it's going to be about 270. And then up to 360, but back around to 0. So these are just the normal compass points. And notice, it doesn't matter which direction my wizard is facing, these are always the same. 0, 90 to the right, 180 beneath, 270 to the left. So this is what programmers sometimes call the global angle, as opposed to the local angle, which we've called view angle. So if you look at view angle, this is a little bit different. So I'm going to hit the right key, so that the wizard is now facing right. When the wizard is facing right, and the wretch is dead ahead, the view angle is around 0. Then this is 90, this is 180, meaning he's behind the wizard, and this is 270. Now watch what happens to the view angle if the wizard changes direction. Well, now it goes to about 180, because the wretch is now behind the wizard. And now the wretch has to be over to the left for the view angle to be at 0, and that's because the wizard's facing left. Now if the wizard's facing up, you can't see this with the graphics, but I've just hit the up button. Now, this is 0, and this is 180. So, this second number, the view angle, is sensitive to which direction the wizard is facing. And that's the real value that we need, or that the wretch needs, to figure out where he needs to move. I just want to improve this slightly. Right now, this sometimes allows for negative numbers, and I don't like those. So I'm going to use the same trick we used before. I'm just going to drop that in there and into the mod, and then do a mod 360. And that's going to make sure it's always expressed in normal 1 to 360 degrees. That makes it easier to think about. Now that puts us in a position to finish this off. So now, the first block here is the situation where the wretch is directly ahead of the wizard. So grab an OR, because there are two possibilities. So if the view angle is greater than 360 minus 45, so what's that? 315. Or the view angle is less than 45, then you're in the cone, the vision cone of the wizard. And if it's the first of those, if it's greater than 315, you're better off, the wretch is better off moving counterclockwise to get away. And we'll explain this a little bit more later when we do the movements. Otherwise, he's better off moving clockwise. Otherwise, if he's not in the viewing cone, then he's either behind or beside the wizard. So let's check which one of those it is. So first we'll check for behind. For this we need an and we need a greater than and a less than. So if the view angle is coming round towards 180, he doesn't have to be there yet, but it's getting past 180 minus 45, so it's 135 or higher. And it's not gone too far past 180, so it's not bigger than 225, then the wretch is behind the wizard. And otherwise, if he's not in the viewing cone and he's not behind the wizard, then he's beside the wizard. Okay, so now we're going to watch this. So right now he's beside the wizard. If I bring him in front of the wizard, clockwise, Now this means that he's above the wizard's line of sight, and so his best movement is to turn this way, clockwise. But if he's slightly below the wizard's line of sight, then now it will be better to move counterclockwise. That would be the fastest way to get out of the wizard's attack space. If he's over here, he's behind the wizard, as you can see. And then if he's anywhere else, he's beside the wizard. So that seems to work. Now all that does is it tells the wretch where he is. It doesn't tell the wretch where to go. So that's what we need to do next. We need to get the wretch to react intelligently to this knowledge. I'll see you there.